The name Vanderbilt has resonated through history as a symbol of immense wealth and monumental achievements in American industry. Originating with Cornelius Vanderbilt, who amassed a fortune through railroads and shipping, the family's influence extended beyond commerce to shape cultural and social landscapes. They constructed palatial estates, epitomizing the pinnacle of Gilded Age extravagance. However, this golden era was not to last. Over generations, the vast fortune dwindled due to lavish lifestyles, poor financial management, and the inevitable dilution of wealth among numerous heirs. At present, the once ubiquitous Vanderbilt influence has waned significantly, and in the 21st century, only a handful of Vanderbilt descendants maintain a semblance of the old power and wealth, navigating a world vastly different from the empire their forebearers once controlled. Today, we delve into the stories of these remaining heirs, exploring their legacy, lives, and the shifting sands of time that have redefined their family's status. At one point in American history, having a parent with the last name Vanderbilt was like getting a golden ticket to fame, fortune, and power. Indeed, for decades, the descendants of railroad magnate Cornelius Vanderbilt spent money like it was going out of style, including building the largest private home in America to this very day, the Biltmore estate in North Carolina, and getting one of the country's most prestigious universities named after their family. However, the gilded aura that once shrouded the Vanderbilt name has gradually faded, revealing the burdens that come with such a storied legacy. By the 21st century, the dazzling excesses of the Vanderbilt past had given way to a more subdued presence, and despite having one of the most recognizable faces in news be a member of this legendary dynasty, most people on the streets of America would not know what became of the Vanderbilt legacy. In today's episode, we'll give you the deep dive and the secret history, taking you step by step through the past and the future of one of America's most iconic names as we describe what became of the final Vanderbilt heirs. Anderson Cooper seems to have cornered the market on both broadcasting and bank balances, with his 2024 endeavors stamping him as a titan of American journalism and a not-so-secret admirer of the finer things in life. With a reported $50 million net worth to his name, but pulling in a hefty $20 million from CNN annually, hinting at a much greater fortune, Anderson is not just riding the wave, he's making it. And when it comes to real estate, Anderson doesn't just own properties, he seems to collect them. From a grand $20 million mansion in Atlanta to a chic 5-bedroom New York City apartment snagged for $8 million, this man knows his bricks and mortar. Add to this a quirky former firehouse in the West Village and multiple retreats in Quogue, and it's clear the man has a knack for luxury digs. Not to forget, he zips around in a Gulfstream jet and sails a 50-foot yacht. Not exactly stuffy newsroom desk fare. Now, his professional notoriety remains undisputed as he helms CNN's Anderson Cooper 360 and The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper. And the man seems to dance between hard news and pop journalism with the ease of a seasoned samba dancer. Of course, what you're all really here for is the inheritance info, and it would seem Anderson's hand-me-down income is as robust as his broadcasting schedule. Beyond his salary, he inherited a nifty sum from his mother, the legendary heiress Gloria Vanderbilt. While the gossip mills churn out wildly varying figures ranging from $1.5 million to a staggering $135 million, Anderson himself chuckles at these speculations, known as he is for pinching pennies and happily outfitting his offspring in hand-me-downs. But the story of this final Vanderbilt deepens with a poignant twist. Anderson is the younger sibling of Carter Vanderbilt Cooper, the other last heir to the Vanderbilt estate. Born into a world of wealth and privilege, the brothers grew up in the lap of luxury on Manhattan's Upper East Side, enjoying panoramic views that most can only dream of. Tragedy, however, has been a recurring theme in their lives, echoing the melancholic undertones of their mother's own early experiences, and it seems even a Vanderbilt must pay his dues to the fates. In the next chapter, we'll give the broader context of exactly what it would have been like to grow up as the final heirs in one of America's most legendary dynasties, before getting into the nitty-gritty of the modern Vanderbilt story of wealth and woe. Cornelius Vanderbilt, great-great-grandfather to media personality Anderson Cooper and his late brother Carter Cooper, epitomizes the quintessential American rags-to-riches story. Born to a modest family in New York City, Vanderbilt propelled himself from ferry operator to titan of the transportation industry, amassing wealth that established the Vanderbilt family as symbols of American affluence and power. And starting as a young man, Vanderbilt gained a reputation for his unyielding reliability and spirited courage while working on ferries. His ambitious nature soon led him into the steamboat industry, where he cleverly sidestepped monopolies and offered cutthroat prices that outmaneuvered his competitors. This strategy not only ballooned his operations, but by the late 1840s, his fleet swelled to over 100 steamboats, marking his venture as the largest business in the United States at that time. Not one to rest on his laurels, Vanderbilt shifted his focus to the burgeoning railroad industry. And through strategic acquisitions such as the New York and Harlem Railroad, Hudson River Railroad, and Central Railroad, he crafted an expansive transportation network that rivaled any in the nation. His relentless approach to business earned him the moniker the Commodore, and by his death in 1877, Vanderbilt had accumulated a fortune estimated at $95 million, equal to over $140 billion today, making him the wealthiest man in the country at his death, even outpacing the remaining Rockefellers. And the Vanderbilt legacy of grandeur persisted well beyond Cornelius's era. His children invested their inherited fortunes into constructing opulent mansions along New York City's Fifth Avenue, extravagant summer retreats in Newport, Rhode Island, and the majestic Biltmore House in Asheville, North Carolina, still the largest private home in America, even in 2024. Yet, beyond their architectural contributions, the family also embraced philanthropy. And Cornelius himself initiated this tradition by endowing $1 million to found Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. Therefore, it is from this lineage of prosperity and philanthropy that Anderson Cooper and his brother Carter descend. And yet, their own mother from her earliest days was embroiled in her own bit of Vanderbilt drama. You see, the struggles began following the death of Reginald Vanderbilt, Gloria Morgan's first husband, and father to young Gloria Vanderbilt, and his demise in 1925 triggered a notorious custody battle over their daughter and her substantial $5 million trust fund, equal to over $80 million in today's dollars. The dispute thus pitted Gloria Morgan Vanderbilt against her sister-in-law Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, encapsulating the public's fascination with the Vanderbilt family's private lives. Dubbed the trial of the century, this high-profile legal saga unfolded during the depths of the Great Depression, casting a stark light on the lives of the ultra-wealthy. Accusations flew thick and fast in the courtroom, painting Gloria Morgan Vanderbilt as a socialite more devoted to her European jaunts than to her maternal duties. Gertrude Whitney, who had been acting as the young Gloria's guardian at her lavish New York estate, ultimately won custody, relegating Gloria Morgan to mere visitation rights. But the trial left an unforgettable mark on how Gloria Vanderbilt perceived her own mother. As a beautiful stranger, she only saw occasionally. Despite these rocky beginnings, Gloria Vanderbilt carved out her own notable path, turning her talents to the worlds of art, fashion, and literature. Her foray into the fashion industry, particularly her pioneering line of designer jeans in the 1970s, catapulted her to new heights of commercial success. And in 1980, at the height of her brand's popularity, she pocketed an impressive $10 million from royalties alone, an amount equivalent to more than $30 million today. But the romance between Gloria Vanderbilt and Wyatt Emery Cooper, Anderson and Cooper's father, is also a key aspect of the journey to understanding the final Vanderbilt heirs. Gloria and Wyatt first crossed paths at a New York City dinner party in the early 1960s, where Gloria was immediately taken with Wyatt's striking blue eyes, and she described their first meeting as a shock of recognition, a moment that sparked an immediate connection. You see, at this juncture, Gloria was a famed socialite and fashion innovator, while Wyatt had carved out his niche as a gifted writer and actor with roots in the Deep South. Despite their disparate backgrounds, Gloria from the opulent Vanderbilt dynasty and Wyatt from a humble Mississippi upbringing, they discovered mutual interests and values that drew them together. As their relationship blossomed, Gloria found herself enchanted by Wyatt's integrity and deeply ingrained values. His large, affectionate family offered her a window into a nurturing family environment she had never experienced, due to her own chaotic upbringing, and this insight was instrumental in her decision that Wyatt was the ideal partner with whom to build a family. Wyatt, in turn, was captivated by Gloria. He saw past her public persona to her artistic prowess and her longing for an authentic family life. Furthermore, their romance was enriched by their joint involvement in New York's vibrant art scene, weaving their personal and professional lives into a shared tapestry. The couple's commitment culminated in marriage on Christmas Eve, 1963, and for Gloria, who had already experienced 3 previous marriages, Wyatt was the definitive love of her life. This marriage heralded a new chapter, providing the stability and family life she had earnestly sought. Gloria and Wyatt swiftly became staples of New York's elite social scene, regularly gracing national best-dressed lists. Yet, their relationship was built on more than just appearances. Wyatt's emotional support and empathy offered Gloria something she had found lacking in earlier relationships, and together they would cultivate the family life Gloria had envisioned. Soon, they would raise Gloria's 2 sons from her previous marriage to Leopold Stokowski and welcome 2 more children, Carter and Anderson Cooper. From their earliest days, the Cooper brothers were steeped in luxury. Icons like Diane Arbus were behind the camera capturing their infant giggles, and Anderson even snagged a gig on The Tonight Show at the tender age of 3. Luxury homes, flights on private jets, and rubbing elbows with the elite were regular fixtures in their childhood tapestry. Yet, this gilded life came with its own set of hurdles. Tragedy first struck when Anderson was 10. His father, Wyatt, succumbed to heart disease, leaving a lasting mark on the family, and both brothers were academic stars. Anderson polished off his prep education at Manhattan's Dalton School, dashing through the curriculum to graduate at 17. He then sprinted to Yale, dove into political science, and even steered the lightweight rowing team as coxswain, bagging his degree in 1989. Carter, on the other hand, was enchanted by military history and politics from a young age. Described by Anderson as more sensitive and less cut out for the social fray, Carter's interests were profound, yet his demeanor gentle. Thus, the bond between the brothers was intricate, laced with the usual sibling dynamics, yet defined by a shared experience of public scrutiny and personal trials. For example, Anderson held Carter's book Families in high regard, viewing it as a roadmap their father might have endorsed for their lives. After his graduation from Princeton in 1987, Carter delved into the world of historical literature, contributing reviews and edits to American Heritage magazine. Personal struggles, however, shadowed Carter. He battled severe allergies and harbored a peculiar fear of anesthetics, speaking to his desire to live fully and consciously. Tragically, a new asthma inhaler prescribed months before his untimely death was later thought by their mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, to have triggered a fatal psychotic episode. On the 22nd July 1988, at the age of 23, Carter ended his time on Earth by jumping from the terrace of his family's 14th-story apartment in New York City with his mother as a helpless spectator. Her pleas for him to step back from the precipice went unheeded, leaving a scar that would persist through the decades. And the void left by Carter's demise wove a new fabric of unity between Anderson and Gloria. Amidst the profound grief, Anderson became a pillar of support, offering solace and strength to his mother. Gloria, haunted yet resilient, found ways to keep her son's memory vibrant, engaging in conversations that breathed life into his past presence, and her literary tribute to Carter, A Mother's Story, captures the excruciating pain of that loss and its everlasting imprint on her life. Through these trials, the threads of familial love and collective memory stitched together a tapestry of shared resilience and mutual support, highlighting a journey through loss and the continuous search for solace and understanding in its aftermath. In the wake of personal catastrophe, Anderson Cooper and his mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, leaned heavily on one another, and the ripple effects of Carter's untimely departure profoundly shaped Anderson's professional path and personal ethos. He openly credits his brother's death as a pivotal force driving him toward journalism, a field where he frequently tackles themes of loss, resilience, and the human spirit's indomitable capacity to recover. While covering global adversities, Anderson found a way to process his own heartaches, though the sorrow of his brother's absence remains a constant companion. And the death of Gloria Vanderbilt at 95, due to stomach cancer, marked another chapter of loss in Cooper's life. Thus, despite his accomplishments and professional standing, Anderson Cooper has always been candid about his personal struggles with grief. This openness led him to launch All There Is in 2022, a podcast exploring the multifaceted nature of grief and its profound impact on those it afflicts. The podcast has resonated deeply, creating a community for individuals navigating similar pathways of loss, offering both solace and shared understanding. In more personal realms, joy has blossomed for Cooper in recent years, particularly in his role as a father to his two sons, Wyatt and Sebastian, whom he shares with his former partner, Benjamin Messani. Embracing fatherhood, Cooper is dedicated to nurturing his children's interests and bolstering their pursuits, a commitment he attributes to the values instilled in him during his upbringing. And although Anderson Cooper initially distanced himself from the Vanderbilt name, wary of being overshadowed by the monumental family legacy, as he embraced fatherhood, his perspective shifted dramatically. This change sparked a deep dive into the complexities of his ancestry, culminating in his authorship of the best-selling book, Vanderbilt, The Rise and Fall of an American Dynasty. With that said, it's important to note that there are indeed two additional Vanderbilt heirs, Leopold Stanislaus Stan Stokowski and Christopher Stokowski, sons of Gloria Vanderbilt from her first marriage. Both of these men, however, have seemingly taken steps to distance themselves from the Vanderbilt brand, and it appears their children will likely grow up detached from the Vanderbilt identity and wealth. Leopold Stanislaus, born in 1950, has forged a substantial career in landscaping and is married to Emily Goldstein. They have two daughters, and although Stan maintained a close relationship with his mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, he and his family have taken great steps to stay almost completely out of the public eye. On the other hand, Christopher Stokowski, born in 1952, has taken a markedly different path. A classical musician by profession who was previously engaged to one April Sandmeyer, he remained single and was estranged from his family for many years before eventually reconciling. Despite this reconciliation, Christopher inherited nothing from the Vanderbilt wealth, speaking to his prolonged detachment from the family. The divergent paths of the Stokowski and Cooper brothers illustrate vividly how the Vanderbilt legacy can sculpt individual fates in dramatically different manners. Each brother's life story reveals the range of ways family members can navigate the weighty expectations and pressures associated with such a renowned lineage, demonstrating the delicate dance between personal identity and familial legacy. When you think of old money families in the United States from the Gilded Age who've somewhat faded from the limelight, names like Carnegie might spring to mind. Andrew Carnegie transformed steel into gold, only to graciously give it away, ensuring that his descendants had to forge their own financial destinies, rather than have it handed to them. Or consider the Goulds, whose patriarch Jay Gould masterminded a railroad empire through cutthroat tactics and controversial financial maneuvers, only to see his modern descendants unable to enjoy the vast fruits of his labor. But above all, the Vanderbilt family stands out the most, as a name both synonymous with eye-watering wealth and frustratingly ostentatious spending habits. Indeed, many descendants of the Vanderbilts have had to create their own luck, as it were. And yet, there is one corner of the family still demonstrating impressive financial acumen and shrewd business stewardship. In today's episode, we'll feature their story, detailing how they not only built America's largest private home, but how they've managed to keep it in the family for more than 125 years, as we describe, the modern Vanderbilts who own America's largest mansion. For many, the name Vanderbilt is synonymous with rags to riches back down to rags. But don't be fooled. There are still a few secret Vanderbilts running the show. Take the family's iconic Biltmore estate, for instance. Nestled in the rolling hills of Asheville, North Carolina, this Vanderbilt Mansion is the largest private home in the United States to this very day. Built in the French Renaissance style between 1889 and 1895 by George Washington Vanderbilt II, this legendary estate sprawls across a jaw-dropping 8,000 acres, boasts 250 rooms, and has been appraised to be worth a jaw-dropping $300 million. Now, the Biltmore estate itself remains firmly in the Vanderbilt family's grip, specifically the descendants of George Vanderbilt II's grandson, William Amherst Vanderbilt Cecil. You see, following the deaths of William A.V. Cecil Sr. and his wife, Mimi Cecil, in 2017, their children, Bill Cecil Jr. and Deanie Pickering, took the reins. Born on the 17th of August 1928 in Asheville, Bill Cecil Sr. was the youngest son of Cornelia Vanderbilt Cecil and John Francis Amherst Cecil. After top-notch education in England and Switzerland and a British Navy stint during World War II, Cecil graduated from Harvard in 1952 before dipping his toes in finance with Chase Manhattan Bank. In 1957, he married Marie Mimi Ryan, a Wall Street lawyer and first cousin to none other than Jackie Kennedy Onassis. By 1960, the couple moved to Asheville with a mission, reviving the Biltmore estate and boosting tourism. And indeed, for the Vanderbilt legacy immortalized through the Biltmore, Cecil Sr. was the comeback kid, breathing new life into the estate. His team's hands-on approach, from creating marketing materials to taking brochure photos, turned the Biltmore into a profitable, beloved national treasure. By 1969, the estate turned its first profit in decades, putting Asheville on the map as a must-visit destination. And Mother Mimi Cecil was no mere spectator either. She offered contributions that were pivotal in the estate's success, providing both support and strategic insight that complemented her husband's efforts. However, their strongest addition to the Vanderbilt legacy may be that they continued the family line by having two equally talented children, William A.V. Cecil Jr., known simply as Bill, and Diana, or Deanie, Cecil Pickering. Today, Bill Cecil Jr. serves as the CEO of the Biltmore Company, while Deanie Pickering chairs the board, ensuring the estate's continued success and legacy. And yet, as we said in the beginning, everyone knows that there are many Vanderbilt family members who seemingly squandered their fortunes and disappeared into the back pages of history. How is it that this North Carolinian Cecil branch, if you will, managed to keep the legacy going while others faltered? In order to get our answer, we'll have to turn back the clock and explain exactly what happened to the other Vanderbilt heirs that precipitated the beginning of the end. In order to get the best understanding of exactly which sides of the family split and which ones endured, let's first go through a quick timeline of the Vanderbilt wealth and who got what, so to speak. Born into humble beginnings, the family originator Cornelius Vanderbilt, known as the Commodore, epitomized the self-made man who reshaped American enterprise. His journey from a rickety ferryboat operator to one of the wealthiest figures in history, with a fortune peaking at the equivalent of more than $100 billion in today's dollars, is a symbol of his relentless drive and shrewd financial acumen. And Cornelius Vanderbilt's frugality was as notable as his aggressive business strategies. While other magnates of his era indulged in lavish lifestyles, Vanderbilt preferred to invest in his enterprises and instill a stringent work ethic in his son, William Henry Vanderbilt. Despite initial skepticism about William's abilities, the younger Vanderbilt surpassed expectations. Under his stewardship, the family fortune not only survived, it doubled, and his leadership of the New York Central and related railroads expanded the family's influence to unseen heights. At the time of William's death, the family coffers had ballooned from $100 million under Father Cornelius to $200 million, equal to more than $6 billion today, at a time when there was no federal income tax within the United States. Yet, the narrative of the Vanderbilt fortune is not merely a tale of unbroken prosperity, and the family's story also features episodes of massive overspending and a generation-wide lack of financial focus. For example, William K. Vanderbilt, a son of William, along with his wife Alva, were particularly noted for their legendarily large expenditures, and Alva Vanderbilt played a crucial role in elevating the family into New York high society, spending vast sums in the process. One of her most extravagant undertakings was the 1883 ball celebrating their new Fifth Avenue mansion, which cost over $250,000, today equivalent to more than $8 million, just on one party. And though this event was a key part of Alva's years-long effort to cement the Vanderbilts' position in elite social circles, constant lavish soirees like this, over the decades, significantly drained their fortune. Moreover, in 1946, another child of William Henry Vanderbilt, Florence Adele Vanderbilt, had her extravagant lifestyle highlighted by Collier's magazine, noting that Vanderbilt owns 15 automobiles. She pays her chef $25,000 a year. Her butler has 4 footmen to assist him. Her New York mansion contains 70 rooms. At one of her country places, she employs more than 100 servants. In contrast, George Vanderbilt II, eventual builder of the Biltmore, took a more artistic path, though his spending was equally lavish. Born on the 14th of November 1862, George moved away from the family's traditional industrial pursuits, focusing instead on art, culture, and education. Thus, George's departure from his siblings' business pursuits led him to embark on an ambitious project, the construction of the Biltmore estate. In the 1880s, captivated by the scenic beauty and temperate climate of Asheville, North Carolina, George envisioned a grand estate that would embody his aesthetic and intellectual pursuits. And his choice to build in Asheville rather than follow the trend of opulent summer houses in Newport or Hyde Park marked a significant departure from family norms. Additionally, the name Biltmore itself reflected George's blend of personal heritage and regional inspiration. Combining de Bilt, referencing his Dutch ancestors, with Moor, an Anglo-Saxon term for moor, the estate would soon encompass a sprawling 125,000 acres of land, integrating over 700 parcels, including numerous farms and former community sites. And to bring his vision to life, George enlisted the expertise of renowned architect Richard Morris Hunt and legendary landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted. The mansion, perhaps the #1 symbol of the Gilded Age's opulence in America, reportedly cost $5 million to build, a sum equivalent to over $200 million today. George Vanderbilt's Biltmore estate opened its doors on Christmas Eve of 1895, hosting a select group of family and friends for a celebration that reflected both the grandeur and the intimacy of the Vanderbilt legacy. Soon the estate became a cultural hub, frequented by notable figures such as novelists Edith Wharton and Henry James, diplomats Joseph Hodges Choate and Lars Anderson, and U.S. presidents. And the estate's splendor was complemented by George's marriage to Edith Stuyvesant Dresser in 1898 in Paris. Their daughter, Cornelia Stuyvesant Vanderbilt, was born in 1900 in the estate's Louis XV room, growing up amidst the estate's grandeur. However, it would be the tumultuous private life of Cornelia Vanderbilt that would both put the Biltmore estate in danger of being lost to the family's control and serendipitously lead to the sprawling mansion being saved by Vanderbilts themselves in the coming decades. Cornelia Stuyvesant Vanderbilt's early years unfolded in the splendid setting of the Biltmore estate, reflecting an existence steeped in privilege and elegance. You see, as the sole child of George Washington Vanderbilt II and Edith Stuyvesant Dresser, Cornelia was the recipient of a childhood rich in cultural and intellectual pursuits, embarking on European tours that broadened her young horizons. But tragedy struck the Vanderbilt family in 1914 with the death of Father George Vanderbilt, leaving a 13-year-old Cornelia and her mother Edith to navigate the complexities of their vast estate. In a display of resolve and foresight, Edith sold about 86,000 acres of the estate to the United States Forest Service in 1917, coinciding with the introduction of income taxes in the United States on large Gilded Age families such as the Vanderbilts. But this strategic sale, aligning with her husband's passion for scientific forestry, a vision originally put forth by Frederick Law Olmsted, helped lay the groundwork for the Pisgah National Forest, securing the estate's legacy of environmental stewardship. Cornelia's personal life then took another significant turn in 1924, when she married John Francis Amos Cecil, a member of British nobility, and their nuptials, a lavish ceremony at All Souls Church, followed by a reception at Biltmore House, were attended by notable figures of the time. Together, the couple navigated the managerial challenges posed by the Great Depression, and in a strategic response to a proposal from the city of Asheville, they opened the doors of Biltmore House to the public in 1930, hoping to invigorate the local economy through tourism. This decision heralded the estate's new role as a celebrated historic museum and a staple of cultural tourism. Yet, despite her deep ties to Biltmore and its legacy, Cornelia's journey with the estate concluded dramatically in 1934 when she divorced Cecil and relocated to Europe, severing her physical and managerial ties to the US. Despite this fact, ex-husband John Cecil remained in the mansion's bachelor's wing until his death in 1954, and the mantle of the estate then passed briefly to their eldest son, George Henry Vanderbilt Cecil, who lived there until 1956. Post-1956, Biltmore ceased to serve as a family home, transitioning entirely into a historic site managed by the Cecil brothers. William A.V. Cecil Sr., Cornelia's younger son, and the man we mentioned in the beginning of this video, returned in the late 1950s to join his brother in addressing the estate's financial challenges. Their collaboration aimed to fulfill their grandfather's vision of transforming Biltmore into a sustainable and profitable enterprise, thus continuing the Vanderbilt legacy in a new era. In the verdant foothills of Asheville, North Carolina, the Biltmore estate stands today as a lasting legacy of Vanderbilt ingenuity and vision, thanks to William Amherst Vanderbilt Cecil. Born on the 17th of August 1928, Cecil was not merely a custodian of his family's opulent residence, he was a visionary who reshaped it into a cultural and economic powerhouse. Son to Cornelia and John Francis Amherst Cecil, he spent his formative years abroad in England and Switzerland, returning to serve in the British Navy during the twilight of World War II. Cecil's academic journey then culminated at Harvard University, after which he ventured into finance, including a stint at Chase Manhattan Bank. But the marriage of Cecil to Mary Lee Ryan in 1957 is particularly notable due to Mary Lee's familial connection to Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. You see, Mary Lee, affectionately known as Mimi, was a maternal first cousin of the former First Lady of the United States. Both women were granddaughters of James T. Lee, a prominent New York banker and real estate developer, and this connection ties the Vanderbilt family to one of the most iconic figures in American history, enhancing the significance of their union. By 1960, the Cecils had settled in Asheville with a clear objective: revitalize the ailing Biltmore estate. At that time, the estate was financially beleaguered, but William saw beyond the immediate challenges. He envisioned a self-sustaining operation, anchored in tourism and agriculture, which would not only preserve the estate's grandeur, but also secure its future. He achieved a significant milestone in 1963, when he secured the designation of the estate as a National Historic Landmark. Under his stewardship, the estate's financial foundation was strengthened through the diversification of its agricultural operations, starting with the dairy farm. Perhaps his most heralded achievement was the establishment of the Biltmore Winery in 1985, which turned into a national success, profoundly impacting the estate's financial health. Then, the 1990s saw a generational shift as William began to hand over the reins to his son and daughter, William A.V. Bill Cecil Jr. and Deanie Pickering, who continued to innovate and expand. This era brought about significant additions, such as the Village Hotel and the Inn on Biltmore Estate, which offered guests luxurious stays amidst the estate's historical splendor. Moreover, the relationship between the Vanderbilt family and the estate's dedicated team has been pivotal. Figures like Steve Miller, a seasoned executive at Biltmore who now consults for family businesses, have been essential in maintaining the estate's operational and historical integrity. Their collaborative spirit ensures that Biltmore remains a vibrant, working estate, contributing significantly to Asheville's economy. Under the vigilant oversight of Bill Cecil Jr.'s children, Ryan and Aubrey, and Deanie Pickering's son Chase, the future of Biltmore Estate looks robust. The younger Vanderbilts are ingrained deeply in the estate's day-to-day affairs, safeguarding the continuation of their familial heritage. Ryan Cecil, in his role as Director of Investments at Lioncrest Capital, deftly manages the estate's financial health and investment strategies, and his acumen in finance is pivotal in nurturing the estate's fiscal resilience and growth. Aubrey Cecil Belils takes charge of the attractions division, ensuring that the myriad visitor interactions uphold the lofty standards of their forebearers. Chase Pickering, on the other hand, revitalizes marketing strategies for the estate's hospitality services and elevates guest experiences at Antler Hill Village. This area, a favorite among visitors, offers a mix of dining, shopping, and access to the celebrated Biltmore winery. Furthermore, Deanie Pickering's foresight in drafting the family charter has been instrumental in preparing the fifth generation for their roles. This document delineates clear expectations and responsibilities for family members engaged in the business, promoting consistency and shared values. Complemented by biannual family gatherings that blend leisure with strategic discussions, these meetings have matured into a comprehensive family council. This council, inclusive of both family and select non-family advisors, offers diverse perspectives, crucial for informed decision-making. Thus, the proactive engagement of the younger Vanderbilts, underpinned by strategic planning and familial dedication, positions the Biltmore estate for continued prosperity. The collective commitment of the Cecil and Pickering families ensures the estate remains a symbol of history and luxury, captivating visitors for generations to come and preserving its status as a top-tier travel destination. Beneath the expansive sky of American history, few family narratives weave as sumptuous a thread as that of the Vanderbilt family. With flourishes of opulence and panache, this old money dynasty not only carved their name into the very soul of America's economic saga, but also embroidered an iconic legacy upon the nation's architectural canvas. Indeed, perhaps no other family lineage from the Gilded Age has etched such a distinct and enduring mark into the history of grand mansions in the United States. Yet even the mightiest of trees can be hewn from their roots. And in the 20th century, an ironic twist of fate saw the Vanderbilts quite literally evicted from one of their most magnificent creations. Their ancestral abode, the Breakers, an estate grand enough to mirror the family's colossal repute, fell to the hands of a local preservation society. In today's episode of Old Money Mansions, we'll share this shocking tale of rags to riches to rags, from reveling in sumptuous summer retreats to being served a vicious notice to vacate, as we describe how the Vanderbilt family got evicted from their own mansion. In the mid-1800s, Cornelius Vanderbilt, better known to the creme de la creme and the murmurs of New York's alleyways as the Commodore, deftly transformed a razor-sharp business edge into the underpinnings of a transportation behemoth. Following a sterling tenure with Thomas Gibbons' steamship enterprise, Vanderbilt caused quite the splash, undercutting rivals with fares so low they practically begged him to take their bribes and sail his entrepreneurial spirit into calmer waters. But his dominion over the maritime market, it seems, was but a prelude. As the 1860s commenced, the Commodore shifted gears to the clanking tracks of the railroads. With the cunning of a chess grandmaster, he enveloped the Hudson River Railroad, and in a relentless pursuit, clasped the New York Central Railroad into his fold. Not to be stalled, the Lake Shore and Michigan Southern Railway soon followed. These maneuvers were not just business transactions, they were bold strokes reshaping the nation's contours. So by his final bow, the Vanderbilt family's wealth was almost unrivaled, with the Commodore's moniker etched into the very spine of railroad nobility. Yet, to paint the Vanderbilt legacy as merely a tale of commercial victories would be to ignore its immense importance in the history of American architecture. Take the Biltmore estate, for instance, conceived by George Washington Vanderbilt II and perched amongst the green embrace of North Carolina's Asheville Mountains. This Gilded Age masterpiece, with its Indiana limestone embracing a sprawling 365 feet, is the very embodiment of Vanderbilt extravagance. But the architectural exploits of this illustrious family didn't peak with the Biltmore. There was also, of course, the Breakers Mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, the immaculate stone subject of today's intrigue. A Vanderbilt beacon of grandeur, the Breakers was erected as a summer escape for Cornelius Vanderbilt II, dreamed up by the renowned architect Richard Morris Hunt, and its construction spanned from 1893 to 1895. Inspired by European palatial elegance, the Breakers was a bold declaration of the Vanderbilts' regal aspirations on American soil. Clad in brick and Indiana limestone, the Breakers Mansion stands as a tribute to the American Renaissance revival, echoing a Roman palazzo and epitomizing Gilded Age splendor. Its Great Hall, a cavernous expanse of 50 feet in all directions, is a shrine to the excesses and ambitions that marked the time. And when the breakers rose from the ashes of a predecessor claimed by fire in 1892, it wasn't just a building that took shape, but a monument to the incredible wealth and reach of the Vanderbilts. Yet, with the arrival of the Roaring Twenties, the whispers of change grew even louder than the chatter in local speakeasies. The Vanderbilt wealth, once perceived as bottomless, ebbed, segmented among heirs with a fondness for the fanciful. As the Great Depression loomed, the family's grip on railroads loosened, and the family found themselves navigating a world not to the rhythm of steam engines, but to the buzz of a new era's tune. As the 1940s rolled into the 1950s, the United States bore witness to the dawn of architectural preservation movements, a collective tipping of the hat to the nation's historic grandeur. Specifically, this newfound reverence had its prologue in the 19th century, when the homes of the nation's political architects, John Hancock and George Washington, teetered on the brink of oblivion. Subsequently, this kindled a spirited national dialogue weighing the virtues of historical sanctity against the siren call of economic progress that often beckoned towards destruction. Into this fray stepped entities like the Preservation Society of Newport County, Rhode Island, an ensemble cast with a mission to champion the cause of conservation over capitulation. Anchored in 1945 by the civic-minded Catherine and George Warren, the society initially donned the mantle of the Georgian Society, vowing to shield the venerable Hunter House, a Georgian colonial gem perched by the harbour, from the relentless march of development. It was against this backdrop that the Breakers Mansion, that paragon of Gilded Age opulence at 44 Oka Point Avenue, encountered its own existential crossroads. Constructed as a summer haven for Cornelius Vanderbilt II, by 1945 this palatial abode had ripened from a private family sanctum into a public con, capturing the nation's fascination, and the plot thickened when Gladys, Cornelius II's youngest daughter and the estate's custodian post-1934, cast her lot with the Preservation Society. With an eye for history's worth and a heart for civic duty, she flung open the Breakers' doors in 1948, not merely to parade its splendor, but to bolster the Society's coffers and creed. Thus, a private mansion's transformation into a historic public shrine was set in motion. This changing of the guard was inked in a lease that was, in essence, a gentleman's agreement, a token $1 per year, allowing the Society to shepherd the Breakers' legacy into the public eye, while Gladys maintained her private apartment aloft on the 3rd floor. Indeed, it was a dance of private grace with public gaze, and the Breakers blossomed into a pilgrimage site for those lured by the siren song of Gilded Age grandiosity. However, the partnership between the Preservation Society and the Vanderbilt heirs, once formed in the spirit of safeguarding a shared legacy, would soon begin to show signs of strain beneath the surface of apparent harmony. As tension simmered, the proud Vanderbilt descendants would next face off against the Society's unwavering commitment to conservation, as the grandeur of the Breakers stood silently, awaiting the outcome of a historic clash that promised to redefine the mansion's destiny. The year 1972 flipped open a crucial chapter in the saga of the Breakers Mansion when the Preservation Society of Newport County struck a deal like no other. You see, the next generation of Vanderbilt heirs passed the mansion's torch to the Society for $366,000, equal to roughly $2.4 million in today's currency, an almost criminally affordable sum, we must say. Yet, this exchange of deeds was not just a swap of greenbacks, it was laced with the understanding that the Vanderbilt aura would linger within the Breakers' walls. Countess Sapari, Sichenyi's heir, retained her residence post-sale, and upon her exit, Gladys and Paul Sapari, her children, then continued to grace the mansion's 3rd floor, their presence a legacy inhabitant within the gilded cage. But the Vanderbilt descendants eyed this pact with a medley of respect and skepticism. While the Society's preservationist zeal was commendable, disputes emerged. Tensions simmered over the significance of family heirlooms adorning the mansion's halls, and whispers of commercialism encroaching upon historical fidelity echoed. The Society's staff, accused of undervaluing Vanderbilt artifacts, found themselves in the thick of a genteel tug-of-war. Additionally, as the opulent 1980s came in, they cast a shadow over the Vanderbilt fortune, once a monolith of American wealth, now a dwindling empire facing a pecuniary storm. The breakers stood as a beautiful, if ominous, symbol of this shift, its upkeep a lodestone for the Preservation Society, as the Vanderbilt heirs navigated financial problems and increasingly leaned on the Society's largesse. At the top of 1998, a gentle tranquility appeared to be lovingly draped over the historic Breakers Mansion, much like the serene sea caressing its shore. The mansion stood majestic, a silent witness to the then symbiotic connection that thrived within its walls, a relationship between the Preservation Society and the living vestiges of the mansion's creators, Paul and Gladys Sapari, great-grandchildren of the legendary Cornelius Vanderbilt II. That same year, the board president of the Preservation Society had even written words of mutual benefit and historical continuity, remarking, "It will be helpful to us to be able to tell our visitors that the original owner's great-grandchildren continue to live in the house." And Paul and Gladys, in their gracious commitment, had not only served on the board of trustees, but had also given their time and efforts like precious offerings, contributing to the mansion's thriving legacy. Yet beneath this facade of harmonious existence, a looming shadow crept stealthily, precipitated by the death of their mother, Countess Anthony Sapari, soon thereafter. A turning point was quickly at hand, and though the upper stories of the breakers continued to cradle the last Vanderbilt descendants, the tides of their rapport with the Preservation Society began to shift. The Sapari children quickly found themselves grappling with a sense of diminishing acknowledgement, their contributions and their profound connection to the mansion seemingly slighted. In fact, their discomfort was met with a veiled warning from the board president, chilling in its brevity. Their occupancy was as fragile as a house of cards, and ready to topple at the whisper of a moment's notice. And then, the year 2018 emerged as a watershed in the narrative of the breakers and the Vanderbilt lineage. The mansion stood at the vortex of a vehement debate, a proposed visitor center poised to punctuate its grounds. The Vanderbilt descendants stood in stout opposition, their dissent rooted in a deep-seated desire to preserve the sanctity of the landmark's historic architectural and horticultural style. Yet the Rhode Island Supreme Court, in its ruling, chose not to halt the Society's aspirations to build the modern visitor center, a decision that resonated with the heavy finality of a gavel, stripping the Vanderbilt family of their lingering influence over the estate. By the 7th of August, 2018, the atmosphere within the breakers had taken on the weight of a historic dirge. The Vanderbilt descendants, Paul and Gladys Sapari, were served an eviction from their own ancestral home, a decision wrapped in the guise of necessity due to the antiquated and perilous state of the building's interiors. Despite this ostensibly mutual resolution, whispers of the Society's vindictive undercurrents circulated, as if the eviction was a veiled retribution for the siblings' defiance against the visitor center. Undoubtedly, this chapter in the Vanderbilt saga was as poignant as it was public, the media's lenses magnifying every contour of this dramatic unfolding. The Breakers Mansion, once a glittering jewel in the crown of American wealth, now witnessed the last of the Vanderbilts stripped from their generational hearth. Thus concluded an era, an elegiac adieu not merely to the presence of a family within walls of grandeur, but to the very essence of their living legacy. By 2019, the Breakers Mansion had gracefully transitioned to a new epoch in its storied existence. No longer the secluded domain of the Vanderbilt lineage, its ornate gates had swung open to the public realm, transformed into a vibrant museum, an edifice of learning and preservation, echoing the echoes of the Gilded Age lifestyle. The metamorphosis of the Breakers into a beacon of cultural heritage marked a profound shift in its essence. The grandiose rooms and halls, which once resonated with the whispers of private lives, now bustled with millions of footsteps walked by the curious and the awe-inspired. Visitors wandered through the opulent spaces, their senses bathed in the grandeur that once was the privilege of the elite amidst a time of great industrial strides and gaping societal divides. Audio tours would narrate tales of economic fervor, social stratifications, and political undercurrents that defined the era, while the Preservation Society's scholarly series, The Gilded Age Years Transforming America, dived deeper into the transformative period that shaped modern America. Moreover, the Breakers Museum journey became a vital sentinel for Gilded Age architecture, preserving its intricate beauty for the admiration and study of future generations. Peering into the horizon, the Breakers now navigates the dichotomy of preserving a glittering past, while engaging a new generation in the historical dialogue. Yet, amidst the mansion's renaissance, a disquieting note of discord has been struck. The legal entanglements between the Vanderbilt family and the Preservation Society, a sad waltz of contention, have left a blemish upon the Breakers' dignified facade. This strife, filled with legal battles and public dismay, has cast a shadow over the mansion's illustrious image, introducing a narrative of contemporary conflict to an otherwise harmonious historical recollection. As the Breakers stands today, it is more than just a mansion. It is a monument that pulsates with life. Its journey, a storied voyage through family legacies, societal evolution, and now legal complexities, continues to captivate and educate in a perpetual dance of historical elegance and modern reality. Imagine yourself as the last heiress in an old money family dynasty spanning more than a half-century. On the surface, it would initially seem like a dream life, with magnificent balls, exclusive gatherings, and sprawling estates, all decked out in the utmost luxury. Yet, underneath the shimmer of endless festivities and priceless heirlooms, a tangled web of personal sorrows and sensational scandals often lies. Such was the case for Gloria Vanderbilt, heiress of the storied American Vanderbilts, born in the middle of the Roaring Twenties decade. And Gloria's life, rich in promise, was equally marked by trials that would test her strength and resilience. From a young age, she faced the glaring spotlight during a bitterly fought and highly publicized custody battle, and this painful chapter earned her the heartrending title of Poor Little Rich Girl, a label that struck to the core of the complexities of her opulent yet turbulent life. Sadly, the challenges didn't stop there, and Gloria's heart was destined to be a battleground for love and loss. She experienced whirlwind romances with iconic figures like Howard Hughes and Frank Sinatra, and weathered 4 tumultuous marriages, with each relationship adding a chapter of hope tangled with heartache, playing out in the full view of an ever-watchful public eye. But Gloria was more than a mere heiress or a fixture in society columns. She was a creative powerhouse who reshaped the fashion landscape. With a visionary mind, she transformed a humble pair of jeans into high fashion, creating a designer denim line that catapulted her name into a multi-million-dollar brand. And her creative spirit soared beyond fashion as she poured her passion into painting, writing novels and memoirs, and even crafting an erotic novel in her 80s. In today's episode, we dive into the captivating, complex saga of Gloria Vanderbilt, a tale of glamour and adversity at the twilight of the Vanderbilt legacy, as we describe Gloria, the last queen of the Vanderbilts. From her very first breath, Gloria Vanderbilt was immersed in a world steeped in opulence and familial intrigue. She was born on the 20th of February 1924 to Reginald Claypool Vanderbilt and his youthful wife Gloria Morgan, and from the outset, the Vanderbilt name endowed little Gloria with the status of American nobility. Her father, a son of Cornelius Vanderbilt II and the great-grandson of the illustrious Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, inherited a staggering $40 million, equivalent to approximately $700 million today. Now, to put things into perspective, Gloria's grandfather, Cornelius Vanderbilt II, was a figure synonymous with extreme, almost pathological desires for high luxury, and famous for constructing the iconic Breakers Mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, which still stands to this day, and the massive, now destroyed, Vanderbilt Mansion on Fifth Avenue, among other opulent homes. For Cornelius II, these estates were not mere residences but palatial symbols of the Vanderbilt dynasty's immense wealth and influence during the Gilded Age. And thus, this environment of splendor and the expectations attached to it likely shaped Reginald's approach to life and parenting, which would later trickle down to little Gloria and create a childhood for her of grand appearances, but underpinned by a lack of familial stability. Thus, despite this immense wealth, Reginald's existence was characterized by reckless expenditure and personal turmoil, and his second marriage to Gloria Morgan commenced under auspicious circumstances, marred by familial disapproval. Furthermore, his daughter from his first marriage, Kathleen, vehemently opposed the marriage, and she even boycotted her father's wedding and excluded him from her own, signaling a deep rift within the family. But this familial strife was just the prelude to a stormy saga. Reginald's addictions to alcohol and gambling not only compromised his health but also dwindled his vast estate, leading him to ultimately gamble away almost his entire mammoth inheritance. His untimely death from cirrhosis, just 15 months after Gloria was born, left her fatherless and thrust her family into economic instability. Yet, although Reginald failed to leave any financial support for his widow, he had arranged a trust fund of $4 million, about $73 million today, for his daughters, including Gloria. And this fund, overseen by Gloria's mother, who received an annual $50,000, close to $1 million a year today, was intended to ensure Gloria's care. However, Gloria Morgan, often accompanied by her twin sister Thelma, chose a lifestyle of opulence and constant travel over her daughter's direct upbringing, leaving young Gloria frequently in the hands of caretakers amidst the glittering social spheres of Europe. Thelma, too, led a life filled with intriguing tales and romantic entanglements, marrying British nobleman Marmaduke Furness and engaging in a high-profile affair with Edward, Prince of Wales. The twins were fixtures in the gossip columns, with Thelma's romantic escapades culminating in her unintentionally introducing Edward to Wallis Simpson. And this connection would eventually lead to one of the most scandalous royal love stories in history. Meanwhile, Gloria Morgan found herself increasingly under scrutiny for her parenting, or lack thereof. Her frequent and extended trips meant that little Gloria spent much of her early years in Paris, primarily under the supervision of her nanny, Dodo. More than a caregiver, Dodo was a pillar of stability and affection in little Gloria's life. Remarkably devoted, Dodo never took a day off, even when her own mother passed away, embodying the role of both guardian and family. As little Gloria grew older, the contrast between her mother's sporadic presence and Dodo's constant care became more pronounced. Despite the luxury and societal buzz that surrounded her, the deepest emotional connections she formed were with those like Dodo, who were consistently present. Over time, Dodo transcended her role as a nanny, becoming the maternal figure little Gloria so deeply needed, a beacon of stability in a life marked by glamorous yet fleeting moments. By 1934, Gloria Morgan's lavish lifestyle and questionable choices began to attract the disapproving attention of the powerful Vanderbilt family. The family's concern was not just about the optics, but also about the well-being of young Gloria, who was growing up amidst a spectacle of luxury but lacking the familial warmth and guidance she required. It was during the year 1934 that little Gloria Vanderbilt found herself in the eye of a familial storm that was about to erupt into a custody battle of epic proportions. As the young heiress recuperated from a tonsillectomy under the watchful care of her aunt, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, the stage was set for a confrontation that would captivate the nation. Gertrude, a sculptor of formidable skill and a benefactor of the arts, had inherited not only her own family's vast wealth, but also the legacy of her late husband, the esteemed banker Harry Whitney. With resources and resolve, she was a force to be reckoned with. The drama unfolded when Gertrude, peering through the veil of family ties and societal obligations, judged Gloria Morgan to be a neglectful mother. Convinced that her niece deserved the stability and grandeur of the Vanderbilt environment, Gertrude made her move. The initial days passed with little Gloria's stay being quietly extended, as her mother, perhaps naively, perceived this as merely a temporary measure. However, as the stakes became clear, the control of a substantial inheritance, Gloria Morgan's maternal instincts were ignited. The moment she sensed the threat to her position and potential loss of financial control, she was propelled into action. Next, her response was swift and desperate. Legal papers were filed, demanding her daughter's return. What ensued was nothing short of cinematic. The courtroom became an arena where personal grievances morphed into public spectacle. Gloria Morgan's appeal to reclaim her daughter met a wall of resistance that shook her to her core, and the allegation that she was an unfit mother left her reeling. Accusations flew not from strangers, but from her own kin. In a twist that could chill the bones, it was revealed that her own mother stood against her, allied with Gertrude and their mutual acquaintance, Dodo. Dubbed the trial of the century, this legal battle not only mirrored the struggles of a nation caught in the throes of the Great Depression, but also fed the public's voracious hunger for scandal. With an unemployment rate soaring at 21%, the American public was disillusioned, their resentment towards the wealthy simmering dangerously close to the surface. Gertrude, embodying the wealth and power of America's elite, and Gloria Morgan, cast as the villain in this family saga, became symbols of excess and moral decay. This saga later echoed in the pages of Truman Capote's Answered Prayers, where an older Gloria made a spectral appearance. Yet during those tumultuous weeks, young Gloria stood as the poor little rich girl, a child caught in a whirlwind of luxury and loss, her personal tragedies unfolding before an audience eager for the next chapter of a real-life melodrama. And throughout the trial, the press swarmed Gloria Morgan, their cameras and notepads fueling the fiery narrative. Witnesses portrayed her as a woman lost in a whirlwind of frivolity, her nights spent in the company of high society and European royalty, her behavior bordering on the scandalous. Tales of her lounging in silk pajamas and engaging in salacious reading material tainted her image. But it was the testimony of a French maid that delivered the most shocking blow. Furthermore, the maid testified to having seen Mrs. Vanderbilt in an intimate embrace with her friend, Nadejda Mountbatten, stirring a scandal that reached the upper echelons of British royalty. When it was time for young Gloria to testify, the courtroom doors were closed, and only Judge John F. Carew remained to hear her words. In private, she expressed fear and disdain toward her mother, swayed by the influence of her aunt and the careful coaching of her legal team. And in her later writings, Gloria confessed to rehearsing damaging stories, including one particularly cruel fabrication involving her mother's lover and a cigarette burn. Yet the meticulously orchestrated testimonies swayed the court decisively. Gertrude Whitney was granted custody, relegating Gloria Morgan to a life of limited visitation rights. Gloria Morgan, outraged and humiliated, protested, comparing her situation to that of any Park Avenue mother reliant on nannies and governesses. Her objections, however, fell on deaf ears, and the scandal continued to be a subject of fascination and horror among the public and press alike. For young Gloria, the verdict did not herald a new beginning, but marked the start of further trials. Sent away to boarding schools, she faced bullying and isolation, her only link to her aunt maintained through cold legal correspondence. And the absence of her mother was compounded by the loss of her beloved nurse Dodo, who was accused of turning her against her mother and subsequently banned from contact. This separation from Dodo, as Gloria later recounted, was a devastating blow to her young heart, encapsulating the profound pain of a childhood marred by loss and betrayal. Thus, Gloria Vanderbilt's adolescence was a maelstrom of celebrity and tumult, and as she stepped into her teens, the spotlight clung to her relentlessly. By 15, Gloria had ventured into the glamorous realms of modeling and stage acting, though her academic pursuits faltered when she chose to drop out of school at 17. Despite the strains in their relationship, she moved to Los Angeles to live with her mother, leading to an emotional reunion with Dodo, her cherished former nurse. Their reconnection was marked by tears and heartfelt vows to never separate again, securing Dodo a permanent and supportive role in Gloria's life. Soon, in the radiant glow of Hollywood, Gloria quickly became a fixture among the elite, her social calendar filled with high-profile gatherings. She was linked romantically to icons such as the charismatic actor Errol Flynn and the mysterious mogul Howard Hughes, who was significantly older. Gloria's time with Hughes in particular was a whirlwind of exhilaration, a chapter in her life she recalled with fondness, even though Hughes was not inclined towards a lasting commitment. However, Gloria's youthful naivety soon led her to make a decision she would deeply regret. At the young age of 17, she agreed to marry Pasquale Pat DeSico, a 33-year-old Hollywood agent with murky ties including rumoured connections to the mafia through his cousin, Albert Cubby Broccoli. And Pat, who was entangled in speculations around the mysterious death of his former wife, actress Thelma Todd, did not turn out to be the knight Gloria had envisioned. His abusive demeanour revealed itself shortly after their marriage, culminating in acts of physical cruelty that Gloria painfully recounted in later years. Their marriage dissolved after 4 fraught years, ending with Gloria's substantial financial settlement to Pat. Despite these challenges, Gloria's spirit remained unbroken, and her life continued to swirl with dramatic encounters and romances. Shortly after her divorce, she found herself in the arms of Leopold Stokowski, the renowned English conductor known for his work on Disney's Fantasia and his past romantic links to actress Greta Garbo. Despite a significant age gap and Stokowski's controlling nature, Gloria, then 21, married him, and they had 2 sons, Stan and Christopher. However, the marriage was strained, marred by Stokowski's domineering attitude and deceit about his noble lineage. Therefore, by her 30s, Gloria's heart wandered once again, this time towards the legendary Frank Sinatra, with their fleeting affair standing as another example of her continued search for love, amid a life shadowed by earlier traumas and public scrutiny. However, the fling with Frank would not last, and soon Gloria found herself swiftly wedded to Sidney Lumet, her 3rd husband, only 3 weeks after their first meeting. Amidst their marriage, Gloria made a resolute decision to sever ties with Dodo after overhearing her make anti-Semitic remarks, with Sidney being Jewish. The marriage, however, was far from blissful, and Sidney's controlling nature stifled her creative aspirations in acting and playwriting, leading to a stifled and discontented Gloria, who eventually decided to end the marriage after 7 years. During this period of personal upheaval, Gloria sought solace through an LSD-induced therapy session, which prompted a long overdue reunion with her estranged mother, Gloria Morgan. Gloria Vanderbilt's reunion with her mother was stark and disheartening. Mother Morgan, frail and battling a bout of hysterical blindness, rebuffed her daughter's attempt at intimacy. And from that uncomfortable visit until her mother's death, they never broached the painful subjects of Gloria's childhood or the notorious custody trial. Amid these personal trials at 39, Gloria met Wyatt Cooper, a man who would become the love of her life. Despite coming from humble beginnings in Mississippi, Wyatt had carved out his own niche as a screenwriter and magazine editor, and their connection was immediate and profound. Just as Gloria was navigating these new joys, she received a poignant reminder of her past, a letter from Dodo, which she instinctively burned. However, the arrival of another letter a week later bore tragic news. Dodo had passed away. The revelation brought Gloria to tears, and she harbored a lifelong regret for not reconciling with Dodo before her death. Gloria and Wyatt's marriage blossomed, and they welcomed 2 sons, Carter and Anderson, into their lives. At the iconic black and white ball while pregnant with Anderson, Gloria experienced a profound sense of familial fulfillment. Wyatt's presence in her life illuminated the kind of paternal warmth she had missed during her own fatherless upbringing. She celebrated his role as a father, acknowledging his remarkable influence on their children. This chapter, although marked by earlier hardships, promised a semblance of the stable family life Gloria had longed for. Sadly, this period of contentment was brief, shadowed by future sorrows yet to unfold. And Wyatt Cooper's untimely death in 1978 during a heart surgery marked a profound point of sorrow in Gloria Vanderbilt's life. He was only 50 years old, and his passing coincided with Gloria's burgeoning success as a fashion designer, a field she ventured into with her artistic flair, initially creating a line of scarves featuring her paintings. This artistic endeavor evolved as she partnered with a clothing manufacturer to launch a groundbreaking line of jeans tailored for women. The jeans, fitting snugly and emblazoned with Gloria's name on the back pocket and a swan on the front, soared in popularity, and her clever marketing campaigns leveraged her celebrity status and the illustrious Vanderbilt name, propelling the brand to commercial success. Gloria was also famously one of Truman Capote's swans, a term he used for his circle of high society women friends, whom he had known since her 20s. However, their friendship faced turbulence with the posthumous release of Capote's unfinished novel, Answered Prayers, where Gloria was depicted unfavorably. In a venomous excerpt set in La Côte Basque, 1965, she is portrayed sitting at a nearby table, appearing aloof and disdainful. Thus, Capote's portrayal extends to mocking a slight stutter she developed during her childhood, a cruel reminder of her tumultuous custody trial. In her memoir, Gloria reflects on her complex relationship with Capote, acknowledging his intuitive and manipulative nature. She recounts an instance where Capote tried to persuade her to enter into an affair with Bill Paley, arguing that it would be beneficial for all involved. Paley's wife knew of his infidelities and supposedly would have found Gloria's involvement less upsetting. Gloria, however, declined the proposition, maintaining her moral stance despite Capote's persuasive tactics. Capote's later comments about Gloria were harsh, labeling her as a nasty little girl who lied about her mother during the custody trial and was difficult to her family. And these remarks underscored a betrayal that deeply affected Gloria, severing ties with someone she once considered a close confidant. The friendship that had flourished since their 20s disintegrated under the weight of Capote's literary ambitions and his penchant for stirring controversy within his social circle. As Gloria Vanderbilt lived through decades marked by both luminous joy and profound sorrow, her marriage to her first husband was initially driven by young aspirations of stardom, a dream that never materialized. Despite this early misstep, Gloria forged a path to significant financial independence through her ventures into fashion. Gloria Vanderbilt's jeans transformed into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, expanding to include skirts, sweaters, jackets, and perfumes. And for the first time in her life, Gloria reveled in the self-made wealth which she found more gratifying than her inherited fortune. "I'm not knocking inherited money, but the money I've made has a reality to me that inherited money doesn't have," she reflected in 1985. However, 1988 brought with it another wave of tragedy. Gloria's son, Carter, just 23, died after a fall from the terrace of her 14th-floor New York apartment. Gloria believed a psychotic reaction to his asthma medication spurred his fatal decision, but his brother Anderson saw it as a deeper emotional turmoil. Carter felt things too intensely. The horrifying moment unfolded as Gloria, pleading desperately, reached out to grasp her son, only to watch him slip away. This incident, she later shared, was a grievous wound that left her soul bare. And in the wake of this immense loss, Gloria channeled her grief into writing A Mother's Story, a book about the ordeal of losing Carter. She openly welcomed conversations about her son, feeling that they kept his memory vibrant and alive, ensuring he was never forgotten. Yet, her challenges were far from over. Gloria soon uncovered deceit within her inner circle. Her lawyer and therapist, two of her most trusted confidants, had swindled her out of millions. Though she won a $2 million lawsuit against them, the compensation she received was negligible. To further complicate matters, a staggering tax bill of over $3 million landed at her doorstep, a liability her lawyer should have managed. And this financial blow forced her to sell her cherished New York apartment and Long Island home. Resilient as ever, Gloria moved into an apartment owned by her son Anderson and rededicated herself to her artistic pursuits. She continued to write magazine articles, poetry, and memoirs, and even ventured to pen a steamy erotic novel, Obsession, at the age of 85. By 90, she had even embraced social media, joining Instagram, where she quickly amassed over 100,000 followers, using the platform to showcase and sell her art, drawing immense support and inspiration from the community there. In her final years, Gloria faced stomach cancer with the same grace and fortitude that had characterized her entire life. Opting to spend her last days at home, she was surrounded by her 3 sons, cherishing moments of laughter and reminiscence. Gloria Vanderbilt passed away on the 17th of June 2019, closing the chapter on a life that had navigated the extremes of society's splendor and personal tragedy. From glamorous European soirees to the intense scrutiny of New York's legal battles, Gloria's life was a paragon of resilience, creativity, and the enduring power of family bonds. When you hear the name Vanderbilt, you might think of gargantuan estates that in today's climate appear almost unlivable due to their sheer size and lack of modern amenities. And yet, legendary 20th century heiress and fashion designer Gloria Vanderbilt lived in a series of homes that beautifully combined old money opulence with personal artistry. Indeed, her residences were canvases that reflected her vibrant creativity and innovative spirit in design, and her approach to living spaces intertwined her flair for the arts with the grand architectural traditions of her family, making each home uniquely a Vanderbilt, yet distinctly Gloria's own. In today's episode, we'll guide you through a private tour of these extraordinary homes, exploring how Gloria Vanderbilt infused contemporary artist elements into classic old money mansions. First of our list of Gloria Vanderbilt's old money mansions is one of her main childhood residences. Tucked into the regal expanse of Manhattan's Upper East Side at 39 East 72nd Street, and located just a block from the famed Central Park. And although her time in the residence was brief, Gloria Vanderbilt's infancy in this mansion paints a vivid picture of her early life and the illustrious Vanderbilt lineage. Born in 1924 to Reginald Claypool Vanderbilt, the mansion was a cradle of luxury for Gloria until the family relocated to Paris following her father's demise in 1925. This stately townhouse that has since been the canvas for multiple transformations and exemplifies the splendor of the Gilded Age and was crafted in 1891 by architect Robert B. Lynd. The facade of the mansion, a striking example of neo-Grec design, features sandstone cladding that sets a distinguished tone amidst the upscale surroundings of Madison and Park Avenues. The meticulous attention to detail is evident in the elegantly carved windowsills and the faithfully replicated cornice, each element echoing a commitment to preserving the historical integrity while incorporating modern luxuries. Spanning 7 stories and encompassing 18,504 square feet, the interior of this grand townhouse is equally impressive. It houses 12 bedrooms, 11 full bathrooms, and 3 powder rooms, all designed with an eye for luxury and functionality. The presence of 3 gas fireplaces adds a touch of warmth to the expansive spaces, while a large terrace offers a private outdoor retreat. Furthermore, the building is equipped with a central elevator, augmented by 3 private elevators that service the mansion's 3 separate units. This unique feature offers flexible living arrangements, with the potential for these sections to be used as rentals or accommodations for guests and staff. Over the years, this property has witnessed fluctuating fortunes in the real estate market. Initially presented to the market at $50 million in 2019, adjustments were made over time, reflecting the shifting dynamics of New York's real estate scene. The final sale price settled at $32.2 million in 2022, a figure that, while reflective of current valuations, also highlights the home's storied past and architectural pedigree. The next old money mansion inhabited by Gloria Vanderbilt was one she spent even more time in, located in the luxurious environs of none other than Paris, France. In the early 20th century, the Parisian residence of Gloria Vanderbilt captured the epic of luxury and high society. You see, after the death of her father in 1925, young Gloria and her mother, Gloria Morgan Vanderbilt, made their home in the fashionable 8th arrondissement, a settlement that reflected their opulent lifestyle and social prominence. And their apartment, housed within a grand Haussmann-style building, was a perfect amalgam of classic French elegance and modern flair. High ceilings and expansive windows invited sunlight to dance across the interiors, highlighting the intricate moldings and sophisticated decor. The living spaces were adorned with a collection of fine antiques and cutting-edge designs, creating a visually stunning environment that was both inviting and impressive. Furthermore, Gloria's mother, a woman of exquisite taste and a fervent patron of the arts, skillfully orchestrated the home's interior design. She chose rich fabrics and gilded designs to embellish the rooms, ensuring every corner reflected an air of aristocratic grace. Young Gloria grew up surrounded by this luxury, which not only comforted her in her formative years, but also sparked her lifelong passion for design and the arts. The strategic location of their residence in the 8th arrondissement also exposed Gloria to a milieu brimming with cultural richness. This prestigious area, a hub for Paris's elite, offered unmatched access to exclusive boutiques, revered galleries, and major cultural institutions. Thus, this vibrant setting was instrumental in nurturing her burgeoning artistic talents and broadening her social horizons. Additionally, education played a crucial role in Gloria's development during her Paris years. She attended esteemed schools that emphasized the arts, enabling her to refine her abilities in painting and drawing. Consequently, the proximity of her home to some of the world's most famous museums and galleries provided her with endless inspiration and opportunities to engage deeply with the art world. Therefore, Gloria's Parisian apartment not only served as an icon to the Vanderbilts' social status and wealth, but also as a private haven from the challenges they faced outside its walls. Next on our list of the old money mansions of Gloria Vanderbilt stands an Upper East Side townhouse that captures the essence of its distinguished neighborhood, Carnegie Hill. And this 5-story, 6,400 square foot brownstone, constructed in 1891, is graced with an ivy-adorned exterior that spoke directly to Gloria's heart. You see, the illustrious heiress, who claimed this space for almost 2 decades after acquiring it in the 1980s, was particularly enchanted by its greenhouse. This feature, which she repurposed as a studio, became a sanctuary where she indulged her artistic pursuits. Additionally, the residence features 6 bedrooms and 6.5 bathrooms, providing ample space across its vertical expanse. Each floor is seamlessly connected by a grand, spiraling staircase, complemented by an elevator, ensuring effortless movement throughout the home. The parlor level is distinguished by its formal living and dining rooms, each anchored by a wood-burning fireplace and crowned with 11-foot ceilings. On the 4th floor, the solarium stands out as a unique retreat. Attached to a bedroom, this light-drenched space offers serene views and a quiet nook for relaxation. The home also includes a meticulously updated kitchen, a fully furnished basement equipped with laundry facilities and additional storage, and a lush garden that offers a verdant escape within the urban landscape. Preserving the integrity of the original structure, the townhouse retains its dark wood paneled floors, ornate crown molding, and a total of 5 wood-burning fireplaces, echoing the architectural grandeur of its era. Therefore, due to the fact this mansion was owned by Gloria for more than 20 years, it is likely it was one of her most cherished places on this list. Next on our list, in the heart of Midtown East, at 30 Beacon Place, Gloria Vanderbilt's former apartment stands as a vibrant symbol of her life and taste. Imbued with her unique aesthetic and an insatiable zest for art and design. Indeed, this 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom co-op was not just a residence, but a canvas for Vanderbilt, who lived there from 1997 until her passing in 2019 at the age of 95. And this second-floor unit, part of a 10-story Pruer edifice erected in 1931, encapsulates the essence of Vanderbilt's spirit through its decor. The interiors, a blend of personal artistic expressions and eclectic design elements, display a daring use of vibrant colors and an array of religious iconographies. Among its many whimsical features, the hand-painted mantel in the neon orange dining room stands out. It bears a poignant, paraphrased quote from Lee Wilson Dodd that captures the transient essence of possession and loss. "Much that I sought I could not find. Much that I found I could not bind. Much that I bound I could not free. That which I freed returned to me." With high ceilings ascented by elegant beams, the apartment's spacious rooms bathe in natural light, though they remain untouched since Vanderbilt's initial occupancy, signaling a need for modern enhancements. The layout includes an eat-in kitchen, a windowed foyer leading to a formal dining room, and a living room centered around a cozy wood-burning fireplace. Beyond the private luxuries, the building itself offers residents amenities including a gym and a bike storage room. Anderson Cooper, Vanderbilt's son, has, in fact, reflected on his mother's penchant for transformation, noting her perpetual projects of home redesign and redecoration. "When I was growing up, we moved every 4 years. My mum was always remodeling and redecorating, never quite satisfied with the story the room was telling at the time." Yet Vanderbilt's extensive stay at Beacon Place, uncharacteristically long by her standards, was driven by her fondness for the apartment and perhaps a desire to finally settle. For her to stay in this apartment for 23 years, which for my mum is an eternity, it had to change. "I think she got tired of all the moving, and she decided to burrow into this place and just work on it," Cooper explains. When the property hit the market in August 2021, priced at $1.125 million, it drew immediate attention and secured a buyer within just a month. This spark of interest from a diverse range of national and international prospects, eager to own a piece of Vanderbilt's storied legacy, spoke volumes about the importance this apartment had not only to Gloria Vanderbilt, but New York City at large. The last home on our list of old money mansions owned by Gloria Vanderbilt is tucked into the lush landscape of Beverly Hills. And this residence, steeped in Hollywood history, whispers of its past celebrity inhabitants, encapsulating an era when silver screen legends like Greta Garbo also graced its rooms. Now, the mansion once shared by Garbo and the illustrious Gloria Vanderbilt, painting a vivid picture of Hollywood's golden days. The two icons, along with Vanderbilt's then-husband, the esteemed conductor Leopold Stokowski, lived in the property during the late 1930s, a period that saw Garbo in the zenith of her career, notably in the acclaimed costume drama Camille. Located in the prestigious Crest Streets neighborhood, this home was a contemporary marvel when it first appeared on the scene in 1937. Perched on a precipitous hillside, it offered panoramic views that spanned the verdant canyons to the sprawling downtown Los Angeles skyline. The turn of the millennium brought significant changes to this storied property. In the early 2000s, the house was extensively remodeled by Nicole Sassaman, a designer renowned for her appearance on HGTV. Today, the home stretches across 3 levels and boasts between 5 and 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a chic powder room, covering a total of 4,700 square feet. Despite the contemporary overhaul, echoes of its original Jazz-age modern style peek through, particularly in the elegant curve of its front facade, an architectural nod to its glamorous beginnings. Sassaman's renovation was transformative, yet respectful of the home's storied past. She doubled the living space by adding a second story and incorporated as much glass as city codes would allow, transforming the home from dark and secluded to open and airy. The living areas now feature sliding glass walls, rich woods, and stonework throughout, creating a seamless blend of indoor and outdoor spaces. The Infinity Edge pool and large spa at the back of the house offer unobstructed city views, and the design allows for direct access to the pool through the sliding doors in the living room. The interior design reflects a modern aesthetic while honoring the home's historic roots. The open floor plan includes large rooms with gleaming wood floors and 2 fireplaces, one of which is located in a main floor guest bedroom. The primary bedroom, now situated on the newly constructed second floor, features a balcony with sweeping views of the city. The eat-in kitchen, expanded by enclosing an outdoor patio area, provides ample space for cooking, dining, and entertaining. Outside, the property is surrounded by lush landscaping, with 2 grassy terraces below the pool area, enhanced by verdant foliage and retractable awnings. These terraces provide an intimate outdoor lounge space, perfect for enjoying the serene environment. The home's illustrious past and modern amenities make it a unique blend of history and contemporary luxury. Its panoramic views, elegant design, and storied history continue to captivate those who appreciate the glamour and allure of Hollywood's golden age, mixed with a little bit of Gloria Vanderbilt's history. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Which of Gloria Vanderbilt's old money mansions do you think is the most elegant and inspiring? We love hearing your thoughts and taste on these homes, so don't be shy and be sure to let us know. With that said, thanks for joining us for another episode, and cheers! Until next time.